What's going on, my peeps? Your boy Versatile is back with another video 24 hours later. Even though this video was uploaded like another 10 to 12 hours later. We are here talking about the Samsung Galaxy S10e. How has my experience been since having this phone for 24 hours? Now you see I changed the wallpaper, it looks pretty dope. Compliments of Easy Tech on that widget right there from KWGT. It's a Wolfie widget. How do I feel about this phone? This phone is solid. This phone immediately had me selling my iPhone XR because I miss Samsung, I miss Android. This phone is blazingly fast, and I haven't even had to dive into the developer options to speed up the phone. Why? Because Samsung actually kind of made it a little easier on us to be able to reduce the transitions or animations, and you immediately notice that with the home screen. Like, you know, let's say you go into one app. Sorry about the lighting here, guys, but you know, I don't have my gestures turned on, but you know, it goes by pretty fast. Like they simplified with Samsung One UI being able to, you know, maneuver around your phone very fast, and the animations, even if you didn't reduce them, are still pretty timely. Now, of course, I will be trying out reduced animations in the you know, cutting them in half in the developer options, but I haven't really needed to thus far, even though it's been 24 hours. Now, yes, I've told you guys I have the 6 gig model, 128 gigabyte, and you know, when you dive into the memory, you see that it uses a fair chunk of that up. Now, granted, there's about 2 gigs left, but it just goes to show you Samsung finally realized what needed to take place with this phone, not just with very good software, but it needed to increase the memory for RAM. And so with that being done, this phone feels very good, very satiable. How about that? Now, speaking of Samsung One UI, how has that been? Well, you know, I've been using, you know, night mode or dark mode on here. You know, if you go to settings, I've been rocking dark mode ever since taking this out the box, and it almost throws you off in terms of like looking at the cards and the settings and you know, scouring through the settings to change everything up on the phone. And I will have to say that they did a good job of putting things where they should be and being able to access certain features or things that you would like to turn on, turn off, you know, alter your phone. So that way you get your own personal experience with this. That will be a video later on. So in 24 hours, you guys, the battery life was surprisingly pretty good on here as well. Now, granted, I took the phone off around 9 o'clock, 9:15 this morning, and then put it on the charger around 9:30 at night. So it was, or 9:30. Yeah, so between 9 and 9:15 a.m. and then 9:30 p.m. You're looking at about 12 and a half hours, you know, span of time. In that amount of time, this phone lasted 12 and a half hours, still had 8% left, and I was getting 6.5 hours of screen on time. Now, you know, a lot of that was playing with apps, make sure all my apps work, just playing around with the phone, trying to get used to the Android ecosystem again, because although I have a Google Pixel 2, I didn't really use it that much because I was using my iPhone. And then, of course, the Apple ecosystem is, I wouldn't say drastically different, but it is definitely different than from the Android ecosystem, and then at that, Samsung's ecosystem. So playing around with things, just trying to get that feel again. It's the reason why I was on my phone so much, and it lasted all day. So a whole day's worth of work. Got home, popped it on the charger. Now, me personally, I don't like draining my phone down that low. You know, I like to keep in the 30-40% range and then pop it on the charger. So, you know, that is something that I'll be working towards, and I cautiously am optimistic about the battery improving over time because of my usage as well. It's probably gonna, you know, decline over the days as this stays set up, and really just me kind of picking it up and admiring the physical look and aspect of this phone. Perfect segue. The feel is amazing. Now, I've been rocking it with a case all day today, but since I've taken out the case for this video, I'm put a skin on it because the phone feels so desirable to the hand. Like it fits the hand good. Now, one thing I did notice is and I forgot, was that the S10e does not have the curved edges for the display, but you don't notice it. You don't pay attention to that. Just like with the iPhone XR, in my opinion, you don't pay attention to the slight bezels you have around the entirety of the display because it's a LCD panel. Even though you have a slight, edge around the screen, it still is a full screen, and you don't pay attention to that. And so you don't really miss it because it's not, you're satisfied with what you got going on here. And so, with that being said, solid. This phone feels good. It doesn't really feel slippery. It fits in the hand. 5.8 inches is a great size for a phone, for a modern day phone at that. I really hope that range, even 5.9, 6 inches is pushing it, but stay in that range, please. All phone companies, not just Samsung, but all phone companies. So in terms of the grip and feel, great. Now, harping back to software real quick, the software gestures on here are, I wouldn't say laggy, I would say kind of hiccupy, which can kind of be interchangeable. But the reason why I say hiccupy is because, like, when using the gestures, let me go in here in the settings real quick and change that back. You notice immediately when using, so you go to navigation bar in your display settings, and then so go to full screen gestures. I switch back to that. Right, so swiping up to go back, pretty simple. Swiping up on home, you see that lag right there, but it's not necessarily, well, that case that was kind of lag, but it's really when you use the recent apps, it's like everything wants to go, but it's like the apps actually organize themselves into the card form. It's kind of hiccupy. I wouldn't necessarily say laggy. So I don't know if that's a testament to Google, or not Google, but Android and gestures in general, or if that is Samsung, because again, it is another kind of layer of skin on top of Android, and so I don't know if that's also kind of messing around with the software gesture. So hopefully in an upcoming update, it kind of fixes that. The other thing let me switch right back. The other thing is you can't swipe left or right. See that? You can't swipe left or right to use your quick app switcher in the gesture mode on here. So I don't know if Samsung forgot to integrate that or add that, or you just can't do it because the only thing you can do is swipe up here. Now see, it works once you kind of use it a little bit, but if you haven't, I don't know if it's like it just deletes it out of memory and forgets that that's kind of like the main functioning part of the phone when you're using the gestures. But like you see right there, pretty quick. Do it again. See, it's quick after you do it. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So hopefully that's maybe just an update fix, and then we'll get the quick app switcher and that hiccupy feel goes away. But outside of that, using the buttons still feel good to me. Of course, I like having the back button on the side closest to the thumb using the phone, because that's how it should be. I wouldn't necessarily say Android was built backwards with how the back button has traditionally been placed, but I would say that it should be interchangeable with those who might use the left or right hand, with the phone, so that way you can access the back button that much faster. Now, in terms of the daily usability within 24 hours, I'd say it was pretty well solid. Now, my apps open and close very good, very timely. I will say that I don't like, unless I haven't been able to find it, I don't like the emojis as much. I might switch to the Textra app to kind of regeneralize my emojis, because I do like using emojis, but like the ones that you use on Samsung, like you get the gist of what the emoji is supposed to be, but it just kind of throws you off a little bit, especially when you've been in Apple's ecosystem for like over about 6 to 8 months now, so you quickly get used to those. So Textra is one good app to use if you want to change your icons, and it's a very good app, and it still has like the super black AMOLED theme mode, just like Samsung's Messenger, so that way you can still utilize saving battery that way. So that's pretty good. What else have I been doing within the 12 hours I've been using the phone? Taking pictures. I posted some on Instagram and Twitter. The camera's pretty well. Promo's pretty cool. The ultra wide angle camera is amazing on here. The camera on here, you don't really expect it to be that wide until you actually use it. So I definitely appreciate Samsung for actually utilizing that. And then also within the camera setting, you can actually turn on like the wide angle warp distortion correction. Excuse me. So that way it will actually correct like the frame or the the edges of the picture. It kind of warps and kind of bends. Well, it will fix that distortion for you, and then you don't have to worry about it. You get a clean, wide, ultra wide angle picture or portrait or landscape. So I've been taking a few pictures of those in low light. You can see where it's slightly fuzzy, but it's definitely no big deal. And I was actually using pro mode, messing with the ISO. So had I had it a tick higher probably, or a tick lower, one or two, then I would have eliminated the grain or the hairiness in the picture, but it still looks good from afar. Of course, when you zoom in and start trying to pixel peep, then you'll see that. Now that's the other thing in terms that's different between this and the iPhone XR. That verse video will be coming up soon. Is that this phone, of course, is rocking a full HD AMOLED panel as opposed to the liquid retina display LCD panel that Apple's rocking in the XR. And so with that in mind, at 6.1 inches, you almost would expect more PPI, but in reality, this has more PPI at 438. The 438 PPI and the XR has 326. So this phone is also pushing more pixels at a higher resolution. Not that much higher, but the point is it's a little higher resolution plus HDR and stuff like that. So I watched a few videos on YouTube today, took pictures, did a lot of app open and closing, posting on Instagram and Twitter, which I usually don't do that often throughout the day as far as like uploading media. Just a thought or something, yeah, but like uploading media, I typically don't do that often throughout the day on my phone. But since I've been psyched about this Samsung phone, it's been on my mind all day, so I've just been posting stuff. So that also ate into the battery, and so I'm looking at tomorrow being a much more successful day in terms of battery usage and all that type of stuff. Maybe I'll come through with a 48 hours later video. I'm definitely gonna show you guys my setup on here. I might change my wallpaper again. I like variety like that. I told you guys I was gonna keep the let's see, I was gonna keep the well, actually I changed I changed it, but it's a live wallpaper. You should be able to see it moving. Y'all see that? So that was the exception to me changing my lock screen wallpaper from the multi-packs to a live screen wall, because it looks really cool, it looks neat. So that's what I did in terms of my lock screen, and you guys will get to see more of that later. Last note, the power button, it's not like in a bad place, but it is definitely different. Now I don't know if it's because the size of the phone, they figured they were gonna bump the power button up, but it seems like everybody's been having that complaint both with the S10e, the S10 and S10 Plus, and of course whoever thinks about getting that 5G model. So, but it's not like a deal breaker. It's not like overly like, oh my god, I can't find it. But it is just like a half a thumb above where it should be, especially when you consider where the Bixby button is. Which, by the way, if they could allow you to change your assistant, that would be nice. I really like to have Google Assistant as my button, but I remapped it to Google Home since I have Hue lights, so it's easy access to get to there if I don't use the Philips Hue app. Which, now that I think about it, I guess I could change my Bixby button to a different app, like the calculator or something. No, I have a page for that. You guys will see my setup soon, but all in all, so far, just through 28 or 24 hours, very solid phone. Very good phone. I've pretty much forgotten about Apple. No disrespect to Apple. I liked Apple. It was cool. It was different. I said I'd give it a try, and I did. And so now I'm excited to use this phone. I like that little ring light, that goes around the camera module, and I hope that they actually add that as like a notification light, maybe, in due time. I do have my edge lighting on, so Samsung packs their phones with features galore. So definitely be on the lookout for more content from me on this phone here. This Prism Blue is pretty sick. You see, it's very glossy, very shiny, but then like it just looks like water, like just splash, drip. You know what I'm saying? So hope you guys appreciate it. If you guys have an S10e or S10, S10 Plus, let me know in the comments below how you guys have been holding up with your new phone. If you think about getting it, let me know down in the comments what phone you're thinking about getting and why. What do you think about Samsung approach this year? Let's get talking. Let's get the chit chatting down in the comment section below. But your boy Versatile is signing out, and until the next video, whew, don't chip too hard, drown off the way. Wait for it.